Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 713 for Tuesday the 7th of January 2025. I'm your host Mark Webb, gamertag appears under the Steam ID Webby 360G, and joining me today is...
It's Graham, or GHamox14.
And Sensei Switch.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, indeed.
Our first show in around, well, for about a month. Just over a month now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You may or may not have heard my terrible audio I put out over December. I recorded some thoughts on a phone, or on my phone, for the Game Awards stuff.
Wasn't in Morse code or anything, was it?
No. So, but first and foremost, I do need to apologise. I have a cold. I landed, so obviously the reason there hasn't been a show, for those of you that don't know, I haven't listened for a while. I was in Australia for 3.5 weeks over December. Spent Christmas there. It was fucking lovely. 37 degrees a lot of the days. And I've now come home to England where it's been snowing this weekend. It's freezing cold. But as always, you get off the plane and a day later you got a stinking cold. As I landed on Monday, it's now Sunday, and I've had a cold all week. So I am very bunged up at the minute. I have taken some Sudafed to help clear me out before the podcast, but if you do hear any coughing or sneezing, if I can't mute in time, that'll be why. That's why I sound bunged up as well. So apologies for that. Next week is our Game of the Year episode. Now, what I would like, for those of you that haven't seen, in the Discord, there is a forum post entitled Game of the Year 2024. I would like as many people as possible to put in their top 5 games that they played in 2024. They're all being collated by What's My Tag, who will give us a overall Game of the Year, well, top 5 from the community, but also the ones that are written down in there. I'm going to read out as many as I can next week as well.
Cool.
So that will be cool. And on another note, Nick isn't here this week because he's in hospital at the moment. He's in there overnight. So, Nick, I know you're listening because you love this podcast so much. Hope you get better soon, mate. And I hope to see you next weekend for the Game of the Year show, because I know you've played shitloads of games from 2024, maybe 2 or 3. Wow.
So yeah,
So
get better.
Yes.
Yeah. Get well soon, Nick.
Now, I don't know about you guys. I'm getting prepared for next week's show. And I know we've got a WhatsApp group, and a couple of you have said you haven't played many games from 2024.
No.
Graham, you played like 2?
I've played
Something like
a total of 4 games that came out this year.
Okay. Well, I made my list a couple of days ago. I have a top 10 and 7 others that are honourable mentions. So yeah, I've played a lot of games last year. I'm probably not going to play as many this year though.
Well, I've played a lot of games. It's just none of them came out last year.
Yeah. Well, I played.
If that makes sense.
I played over 17 games that came out last year, which is a lot. So, and I still didn't play everything I wanted to play either.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was another RPG that I haven't purchased yet. I downloaded the demo that came out in December, Fantasian Neo Dimension, which was made by the original Final Fantasy dude and composed by Nobuo Uematsu, who does all the Final Fantasy music. Not had time to... Well, I wouldn't have even had time to play it, which is why I've not bought it, but This is what annoys me about all these games coming out in December. It doesn't give you a lot of time to purchase or play them.
Yeah.
Which is why I think like the Game Awards have a cut off, and then they, like this year's, they'll include some the December games from the previous year. But I don't like doing that because it's not actually that year. So yeah, it's a funny way of going about it. But yeah, as I say, I was in Australia for 3.5 weeks. It was actually quite nice to get away in some sunshine because I find the dark gloom of the UK very depressing in the winter. I know Darren loves it, but I really struggle without some sunlight. I think I have that seasonal affective disorder thing. So yeah, it was really nice. I had a big break from obviously gaming in general, even though I did take my Steamdeck with me and hammered Metaphor Refantasio whilst I was on the plane. Well, the planes because it's like a 20. Well, it was about my journey there was 26 hours. And then coming back was about it's 2 planes. One's like 7.5, the second's like 14. So luckily, because it's in international, there's power plugs on the plane, so I just plugged in my Steamdeck, and fucking hell, I hammered that Metaphor. Didn't finish it though throughout the whole holiday, because I didn't really play much whilst I was actually there. Because to be brutally honest, there wasn't one day where I didn't have a beer in my hand. So I was a little bit tipsy most days, just chilling out in the sun. It was very nice. And I think sometimes it's just nice to have a gaming break. It was also nice for me just to have a podcast break as well, because sometimes, I mean, I love the podcast. I do love it, but sometimes it feels a bit like a job. So having a little bit of a break like that just kind of reinvigorates your passion a little bit, because you start missing it a little bit. Yeah. So I have been missing it. So yeah, I've been looking forward to today with you guys. So yeah, it's good. Happy to be here. Yes. So I know it's been a month. I haven't played as many games as you thought I might have done, but have completed a few big games. I actually just completed a game an hour before this recording as well. So I've kept busy because my family, my wife and kids, are still in Australia at the minute. They're not back for another 4.5 weeks. So I'm going to be gaming a lot until they're back. Yeah. So shall we get into it? Shall we get into some games then? Shall I go first?
Let's do it.
All right then. All right. Right, yeah, well, I'm going to talk about the game that I've just completed about an hour ago. Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. Yeah, I've been looking forward to playing this the whole time I was on holiday. Because it came out, what early December, I believe?
That was 6th or 7th, wasn't it? Something around there.
Yeah.
Around the time of the Game Awards, wasn't it? Or just before or after?
Yeah. So, what have I done? I just realised. Sorry.
You haven't pushed record?
No, I hit record. I had the wrong chat box open. I had the wrong box open on me stream. But that's better. Yeah, so... Yeah, just completed Indiana Jones. Been looking forward to it, as you say, because it came out at the beginning of December. Quite a long game. I need to check my game time on the Xbox app, but I'm guessing about 20 hours, maybe. I'm not sure, something like that. I'm just going to double check actually while we're. Oh, I can't because I've deleted off my PC.
Decent, isn't it?
Anyway, I'm going to say roughly 20 hours. Now, the interesting thing about this is I actually, about halfway through the game, I was like, I'm having dinner on my own, dinner for one, yeah. And I'm like, I'll normally watch something. And I thought, I'll watch a movie. So I watched the first Indiana Jones movie a couple of days ago, while I was having my tea. And what I didn't realise was the beginning section of the game is the beginning of the first movie.
Yeah, with Alfred Molina.
That's really cool. Really, really cool. Have you guys played this yet?
No.
OMG. It is. I was really worried about this game before it came out, because if you remember the original trailer, they were going on about, it's for the modern audience, and had that guy with the stupid T-shirt on and that, and I was thinking, oh no.
Yeah.
What you know.
Have they wokeified it?
They haven't, though. It is very true to the original movies in regards to the way the story's told, the gameplay. It feels like you are in one of the movies. It's set, you travel to different areas around the world, and it even has that thing, in the movies where it has the music and you watch the plane flying on the map with the little line. It has that as well. Everything's so spot on with this game. It is so cool. As I say, the story's really good. The gameplay I really like. I didn't there is, because each area is kind of an open area, and there is side stuff to do. I did some of it, but not all of it, because I just wanted to play the actual story. So that's kind of what I mainly did. But I did do some side stuff, and apparently if you do all the side stuff, you get a different ending. There's a good ending or something. But yes, so I will say the game is really, really good. I've really enjoyed it. However, the only one negative I will say is there's too much stealth in it. There's all this, you have to crouch around and sneak around Nazi guards and, being sneaky a lot. And it gets a little bit frustrating after a while, especially if you're in a section where you keep getting spotted, especially late in the game, because early in the game, it's just all melee combat. They'll just start punching you and stuff, and you can normally beat them. But late game, they just shoot you and you're dead really, really quick. So it does get a bit frustrating just trying to figure out your routes and sneaking around and all that sort of stuff. So that does detract a little bit. But apart from that, that's really the only negative I will say about the game, because everything else, it feels like you're on a grand adventure in the Indiana Jones movie, because you're in the open area, you're finding out your clues, and the story's going along with talking to different people, and then it's like, right, you're underground, you're in a temple, and you're avoiding traps and solving puzzles and getting to the end and getting, the goblet or whatever. It's really, really well done. You can tell that the people that made this game have watched the movies over and over again just to really get the source material down, because it does feel like another episode of the movie franchise. I do think it's actually set in between a couple of them at some point. I'm not sure which ones, but it's really, really fun. Graphics are stunning. I've played it on both my PC and my Xbox, mainly on the Xbox, because I wanted to sit on the sofa and chill out with a controller. And it looks amazing on both, which is really, really good to see. I only had one issue on the Xbox. Right at the beginning, there's a little section where you pick up... You go across this little stream and you pick up an arrow off a tree. It crashed my Xbox there for some weird reason. And then I relaunched my Xbox, did all that section again, and it's been fine ever since. So there's only been that one little glitch whilst playing it. But yeah, the music is spot on. You get that, that real, I don't know, I just got a smile on my face when the music was kicking in or when certain stuff was happening. The Nazi bad guys are exactly the style of the bad guys that you'd see in one of the movies, a bit of joking and silliness going on at times. all the characters are really well done. I don't really want to talk about the story because I don't want to spoil it, but you do go to quite a few different locations. They're all quite large. There's lots of things to do. And they all just feel very lived in. So I'm only going to mention the first couple of areas. So the first area is the museum where Indiana Jones works. It's the first area, and it just looks amazing, like the lighting, just how filled in it is. It just feels very real. And then the next area is the Vatican. And what's really cool about that, again, is it looks stunning. You even get to go in the Sistine Chapel, and I've actually been there in real life, and it looks spot on. So they've done a really good job with the graphics on this game, which is fantastic. It runs really well on console as well. I didn't actually see if there was a performance or quality mode. I don't think there is. And it just runs smooth. If it's 30 on console, I didn't notice. It's decent.
I think it is 60 actually, which is one of those things where I'm like, your developers can do 4K 60.
Yeah. Well, it's cool then because, as I say, it was very, very smooth. It's definitely, excuse me, one of the best games that Xbox has pushed out in a quite a long time, especially to have it on Game Pass on day one as well. It's the quality that we haven't seen for quite a while. You think about all the games that have come out the last few years, a buggy mess, haven't worked, etc., etc. It's just really nice to see a single-player game, good quality, none of this microtransaction bullshit, just an old-school, decent game. And I can't praise it enough. It is so good. It's so well done. I absolutely loved it. And as I say, I've been playing it since Tuesday, and I've only just finished it today. And it's not like I've been putting at least a few hours in a day, maybe more, just depending on how I feel. Obviously, I've had this horrible cold, so I've been going to bed early and not gaming as much as I wanted to. But this is the one game that's kept me going all week, man. It is so fucking good, and the ending was good as well. So. And yeah, and the cool thing is, once you've completed it as well, you can go back to all the locations you've been to in the game just to mop up all the side stuff if you want as well, which is really, really cool. So don't worry if you don't want to do them all straight away. You do get that option at game end to go wherever you want, and as I say, to mop up. But yeah. In Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, really well done, great story, great characters, as I say, and especially if you've got Game Pass, it's a no-brainer. It is fucking awesome. I know Peebs has said to me that he's struggling to get into it. Give it an hour or two, mate. You won't be able to put it down. So, yeah, that's my review. It's fucking awesome. Play it.
Nice.
Yes. To you, Graham, to you.
Over to me. Okay. Well, before Christmas, I was talking about a VR game I was playing called Synapse.
Oh, this is on your PSVR 2 you picked up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the VR 2, and I kind of hit a point where this game started to really kind of come together. Once you've upgraded, because it is a roguelike. And I hit a point where you actually have like telekinesis. So your right trigger basically fires the gun that you're holding, and the left trigger activates your telekinesis, and you can move certain objects in the environment and basically drop them on bad guys' heads or make barrels explode or throw things at people. If you upgrade your telekinesis, you can actually pick the bad guys up. So you walk into a room and there's like 3 bad guys, and you can basically fling them off the platforms or just send them up into the air and watch them plummet to their death. And at that point, I sort of actually completed a couple of runs without firing any shots. And when you walk in, because of the way it works, it uses the eye tracking. So you just basically focus your eye on who you want to move. You basically pull the left stick, or you pull the left trigger, and then you basically lift your arm up, and that lifts them off the ground, at which point you can fling them off a cliff. And it was at that point I kind of started making real progress with the game. So just before Christmas,
wow.
yeah, it is awesome. But I noticed before Christmas that the same developer had another game. And I thought, I quite like what these guys are doing. So this other game that they've produced is called Vendetta Forever. And again, it is VR. Get it in front of me. It's called Vendetta Forever. And what it is it's a bit like a first-person shooter crossed with Super Hot. So it's almost like a puzzle game.
Okay.
So the idea is you have 60 like scenes, and they're all based on gunfights or action scenes in movies.
That's cool.
So what happens is you pick up a gun, you shoot someone. When they die, you teleport to where their gun was dropped. So the idea is you have to chain all your attacks together.
Oh, okay.
And I actually so there's no movement as such. It's just when you shoot someone, you teleport to their gun, and then you continue from there.
That's
now,
cool.
I don't know if this is a PSVR thing, because I've seen people playing this on systems like MetaQuest.
Right.
And my big complaint with this game, I mean, maybe I need to try and play it in a different way, but with this, the movement is basically handled by the analog stick on the controller, which I find extremely unnatural. I find it very difficult to get my head in. And I've seen people playing it on MetaQuest where they actually turn round, which I think would work a lot better to move your body, if that makes sense, rather than moving the stick. And I've tried switching the stick to the left, and I've tried switching the stick to the right, and just none of them seem to work for me. I don't know whether it's something where I need to kind of set my PSVR up slightly differently and do it standing up rather than sitting down. But it's a shame because I quite like the presentation. The presentation is that sort of very low polygon, sort of filled in graphics to kind of keep the speed up.
Yeah,
so
nice,
some of the sections look like stuff from like westerns. Some of it looks a bit like scenes from James Bond. There's one which is obviously like a pastiche of that scene from the Matrix movie where there's the big gunfight in the lobby.
Oh,
so you sort of have all the pillars, but I just found the game incredibly difficult to get to grips with. And I was a bit disappointed because the Synapse game I thought felt really good and just works really well.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, maybe other people will find it easier to get on with, but I just sort of struggled a bit.
That's fair enough. It looks cool. So, yeah, at least you're trying some new things on your VR, so it's all good, mate.
I mean, it was on sale before Christmas, and it was about £12. So, I mean, I think the full price for it was something like £15 or something.
Oh, nice.
Which at the end of the day, I don't consider to be sort of really expensive. But I mean, I think it sort of dropped Christmas week to about $11.99. So I thought I'd give it a go. But sadly, I mean, I don't know if it's just me or whether anybody else would kind of get on with it better. But I just kind of struggled with the control scheme a little bit.
Oh, fair dues, mate.
But no, interesting. Definitely worth a look if you're one of the 12 people who got VR on the PlayStation. I mean, it might be better on the MetaQuest, and I believe from what I've been reading that the MetaQuest has sold quite well over Christmas.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
So maybe there's somebody out there who's got this game, but it's definitely one to look at. It's kind of just sort of. It's almost like a puzzle game in the way that you play it, Yeah. You just sort of have to work your best way through the level, get to the end, kill all the bad guys, and I mean, it's just got all sorts of weapons. It's got shotguns, it's got pistols, machine guns, and some of it's just ridiculous. Some of it's like in helicopters on the tops of roofs. It's just sort of revels in being a little bit silly and a bit over the top.
Nice. I'm glad you're enjoying.
But there you go. Something different.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Awesome, dude. What about you then, Darren?
Boys, well, one game I'll talk about, I think I know you've played as well.
That's cool.
And that is a game that went into early access, I believe, just before you went away on holiday.
Path of Exile.
Yes, Path of Exile 2.
Is that going to early access on console then?
It's gone into early access and everything, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Like 25 quid, isn't it, or something on the store?
Something like that, depending. I think, 23 or 24. But you get £24 worth of sort of like, or that's sort of the equivalent of like the sort of like microtransaction currency, which a lot of people have used on things like the stash tabs and things like that, which is fine. I mean, what's actually kind of interesting is already in the early access. I think you've got the same amount of classes as Diablo 5 currently, Hell 4 has with the expansion.
Yeah.
With another 6 classes to come on the full release.
Yeah.
Have they announced when the full release is yet?
I think it's rumours are sometime early, well, sort of like spring to summer of next year.
Okay.
So it's a while, which is why I think the early access has done particularly well, because I think it got close to breaking records on Twitch on launch, didn't it?
Mm.
And the launch the launch went kind of as I expected it to go. I played it on launch, I think, for about half an hour or so, about 2 hours after the servers were supposed to go live, because I think there was like some issues with the servers and such that sort of caused a delay. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Bloke at work that I mentioned it to him, he's been absolutely hammering it, and he's in like all the end game stuff.
Wow.
So he's been doing like all the different sort of trials and things. He's got his ascendancy class and all that those bits and bobs. So there's a lot more to this, like once you've finished. And apparently the campaign is only half completed as well.
Wow.
To what it will be. Because apparently he said to me, when you finish the campaign, you kind of go back to the beginning of the campaign again.
Right.
And play through it like a second time. But he said you obviously do it a lot quicker the second time through, because obviously you know where you're going, what to do, and all that kind of stuff. Where the first time you go through it, you're kind of like taking your time looking for the optional bosses that are there, because they will give you permanent increases to your stats more often than not. Or some of the quest missions will give you extra passive points to put into your skill tree, which is absolutely massive. It's like one of the draws from the Path of Exile games, because you'll get given such like kind of freedom of build for your class. So you can kind of think, I wonder if this will work with that, and then I can socket this to that, and it does, and it allows it, sort of a thing. So whereas certain games will be like, oh no, you can only get this bonus like once, and then like you can't stack them and things like that.
See, I think I'm playing it wrong, you know. Because I'm only about 4 hours in, right? Because I downloaded it while I was on holiday just to check out on the Steamdeck, and it runs well on there.
It runs well on everything, apparently, so they've done a really good job of optimization.
I played a little bit on my PC this week, but I'm struggling a bit because I'm playing as a archer class.
That's what I'm as, a ranger.
Ranger, and I'm just getting destroyed, man. I don't know what it is. I'm only in the cemetery area, so I'm quite early in. But there's like an area in there you go down, and there's these shield blokes and loads of enemies, and I just get completely destroyed.
I mean, that's one thing that's also cool about this is the enemy variety. Like those shield characters were like one of the things where I'm like, oh, you can't hit these from the front. You have to roll around behind them and get in the back and everything, and like you really do sort of notice.
Yeah.
the change. But yeah, I'd suggest sort of just like when you're in an area, just in each area, make sure you level up at least once.
Right.
Go around, do the bosses again. There's chances that they might drop better items. You might drop better gear.
I think the bosses are cool because it kind of reminds me of Dark Souls a little bit. Like they all have like their own kind of move set and stuff.
What I also like is you can actually control your dodge roll.
Yeah. There's a lot.
So you've got a fair bit of movement to your dodge roll to change the way you're rolling and stuff in the small amount of time you have.
I might actually think it plays better with a controller than mouse and keyboard because I've played it both, and I think I just have an easier time on my Steam Deck playing it on the controller. So I might actually play it on my PC with a controller now. Just thinking about it. But you've obviously played it quite a bit then, Darren, yeah?
I'm still sort of like on the first act, but I have put like a fair bit of time into it.
Have you played any online with people? Because this is what I find weird about it. It's an online I say it's not free to play because we bought the early access.
Yeah,
but it's an online free to play, but I don't see any other players running around. I've not teamed up with anyone or anything. It feels like a bit of a single player experience.
You only see the other players when you're in the hub areas.
Right.
Because what was actually kind of interesting is when I was first playing the game, I was experiencing loads of lag. There was a slight delay in everything I was doing, and I was like, you know what, this doesn't feel right. I don't know what's going on. And every time I go back to the town, the first area, like the town area and such, it kept saying like Australia. And I was like, has it just randomly put me in like a random region when I started the game? Because obviously it was trying to assign spaces to people when people were starting the game. And I sort of looked into it and it said, it'll assign you a random region at the start sometimes when it's obviously heavy server load.
Oh, right. Oh.
But if you go into your settings, you'll be able to change it to. So I've switched it to London and it's perfect.
Yeah.
I haven't had that lag anymore.
Nice. Did you keep your character? Because usually in these games, your characters are region specific.
No, there's none of that at all.
Oh, that's good. Nice. So you're enjoying it then? You're throwing it to Diablo?
Oh, they're different games. Like Diablo to me is more of a turn your brain off.
Yeah.
And hit buttons. Whereas this is more methodical, and I think that's why my friend liked it, because he played Diablo 4 for a fair bit. He didn't like it as much as I did. I still like Diablo 4. It's good for what it is.
Yeah.
But he just wanted something where he could put his thinking hat on a bit more, tinker with things, and the option of getting like better or interesting loot. I mean, you do in this get a lot of random loot. Some of it's great and some of it's horrendous.
Yeah.
Like I've picked up like a unique bow, which is like a red item, and it was shite. It was worse than what I actually had, and it didn't particularly have many stats on it. But then I picked up another, like a quiver, and it basically adds like 18 to 20% extra damage to all my cast abilities with the bow. So that's basically like almost a 20% increase to all my bow skills.
Yeah.
That aren't just the general shot.
Yeah, I think I need to look into these stats a bit more on these items and shit.
I mean, when you level up and you bring up your passive skill tree, like I'll literally sit there and be like, right, if I work my way down there and I get that, then I can move my way up there, then I can start getting things like increased damage bonus with crit, increased crit rate, and then
it's a big tree,
100% increased crit bonus against full life enemies. Yeah, it's huge, and obviously there's trees that come off of these for ascendancies and other things as well in endgame.
Oh, nice.
So you can follow build guides and everything, but I'm trying not to super hammer it, because the rumours is when the game actually does come out, that it's getting a reset.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So your characters will be reset.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, kind of.
So whether like that means you'll lose your items, I hope not, because I did a trade with a friend the other week because I had a bow staff, and obviously he knew someone that was using monk. So he was like, "Oh, we'll go in and do a trade." He traded to me, but I couldn't trade back to him.
Huh?
Because I wasn't level 25. You need to be a minimum of level 25 to trade items to other players.
Oh, right. That's a bit shit.
But I basically got some gloves off him, some legendaries. They're not legendary, they're just like rare. I think they are the yellow ones.
Yeah.
Which can hold like some good stuff. And it had a dual socket on it as well. And it was a lot better than what I had. And I was like, they're awesome. Couldn't wear them.
Oh, you're not a high enough level?
Because I didn't have the strength requirement. The next day, I picked up a unique belt, red belt, unique, which increased my strength by 43.
Nice.
So it was like, you are missing 5 strength to equip this, and then it was basically like, yeah, have this that now gives you an extra 43 to your strength, 50% increased charges used on flask, 100% flask charges gained on kills, and cold resistance and more life recovery. So there are some good things. I mean, some of those uniques can go up to something like 8 to 10 stats you can get off some of them sometimes.
Wow.
And what I also like is the fact that there's so much weird little currency in this game. Like, there's items that can improve your quality of your armor and your weapons. There's stuff that you can add extra like effects to your weapons and stuff, depending. You can break stuff down later on and salvage the sockets that you can eventually use to create sockets in armor that hasn't got sockets in it, and then put gems inside of those. So there was no wonder that there was a sort of currency stash tab that you could actually purchase as one of the microtransactions, which I got. I will say, if people are actually thinking of getting some of the microtransactions, sort of like stash tabs and things like that do increase all of your bits and bobs, wait, because apparently once or twice every week or two they have sales on them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I picked up one. I got a currency stash tab the other day because it was in the microtransaction sale.
Right.
I think it was running for an extra few amount of days. I don't know if it's still running now. Yeah, it ends in 1 day, so it finishes at the moment. But they're all like 25% off, most of them.
Okay.
But the currency one I found useful because it can store your regal orbs and all of those bits and bobs and your armor spheres and things like that. But like you say, you've got so much. You've got all your different weapons. I like the fact that even when you're using an archer, you can equip a shield.
Oh, that's cool. Does it make you heavy and
that
slow or anything like that?
It kind of slightly does, but I've got boots at the moment that increase my movement speed by 10%, which is kind of handy. But yeah, using the shield, you can block attacks and stuff as long as they're from the front.
Cool.
So there was a boss I fought earlier that was like does a flamethrower attack with his breath, and I'll just stand there and block it all.
There's a lot of customization. I think it's just for me, it's like getting it right and spending a bit more time reading and maybe spending a bit more time just leveling and grinding and shit.
This is why, like, the original Path of Exile is so well revered in the ARPG community. Yeah. And people still play it to this day.
Yeah.
Because of that. I mean, I'm looking now and I've got a ring and an amulet that are still only like magical items, so they can still be improved. My belt can only hold 1 charm, whereas like you can eventually get ones that hold up to 3 charms, which give you different effects as well. There's a hell of a lot to it, and there's probably way more stuff that I don't even know as well.
Yeah, I just think it's pretty cool that you can play it on a Steamdeck. You know what I mean? You can play it on the go, and it looks decent as well. You know what I mean? And runs well. That's kind of the key selling point for me, really. So, as I say, I've not played it enough to really make a big judgment on it. You know, because I've played it only very barely while I was on holiday, and then since I come back, maybe an hour on my PC. So I'm not really played it enough because I've been concentrating on Indiana Jones and another game I'll talk about in a minute. But definitely this week I'll put a bit more time into it, I think.
I mean, you'll end up having to make sort of certain hard choices as you do in most of these games, where you kind of get an item that's really good, and then you'll get another item that is blatantly better in some aspects, but then you're like, but I lose the armor, and I also lose life regen, which life regen is pretty useful.
Yeah,
as you know, in a lot of games. But like even in missions now, I'm just doing a mission at the moment, and I've got someone here who's imprisoned in essences, and I can free them and fight them as like a unique, and then they'll drop a lightning empowering item because he's a lightning character. It's his lightning class.
No, it's definitely. I think it's definitely like from what I've played so far, it's definitely decent. I'm just finding it really hard. Just where I am at the minute, and that's just put me off a tiny bit. But I think I'll just persevere, just a bit more, put some time into it. But I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it.
You've got even things. I will say you've got like with the what's it Archer. Obviously, early on you can get a skill gem that I think empowers your standard attack with poison.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah,
now,
and then in your passives, quite early on, there were ones that increase your damage against poisoned enemies.
Okay. Okay.
By like 20 or 30%. So you know that every time you poison an enemy with your shot, any subsequent shot you're doing on them does way more damage.
Yeah. Just stacking up.
Or they're like vile wounds, 33% increased damage with hits against enemies afflicted by all elemental ailments. So that might not actually class as poison as an element. It might just be fire, lightning, and cold. But you get a lot of those on your weapons and stuff anyway. Eventually.
Are you playing it on PlayStation then? Are you?
Yes.
It's crossplay though, isn't it?
It's full crossplay, yeah. I was playing with my friend who was on PC doing the trade and everything.
Yeah, we need to try and get on if we can. That'd be good fun.
Yeah, it unfortunately does do the obvious thing that you expect things to do, where it's kind of like, because there's multiple of you, we increased the enemies and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't get an easier time per se, but...
Yeah. Not a game that you're interested in, Graham?
I played the first one, and I like the first one, but I'm just sort of waiting for it to kind of...
E3.
I mean, well, no, maybe not. I mean, I'm just going to kind of let it go for a while, hopefully and I'm not going to sort of lose too much progress. I want to kind of wait for a little bit until it's kind of at a stage where it's not likely to kind of sort of go down on a daily basis or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, I don't think there's actually been many issues with the servers since like the original sort of thing for it. There was obviously a little bit of controversy because I think a lot of characters rolled the witch class, which is the minion class.
Wasn't it OP and it's been nerfed?
It was, they nerfed a lot of the stuff in it.
That's a shame.
But that's just to kind of be expected.
Yeah.
I mean,
I definitely enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, like for things like that, because you don't want people to get really far and have their entire build set around something for hours, only to have it just like wasted. And if you are going to nerf that, then you should allow those people with the character, with maybe that ascendancy, because that's the only thing in the game, as far as I know, that's kind of permanent. When you get a choice of ascendancies, what you choose is what you're stuck with.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I might look at it actually. Yeah, have a look.
And to give those people like full like refunds on their spec or something if they are going to nerf it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I'm going to
Cool.
move on then, mate,
Right.
because time is a ticking on. So I did finish another game this week. Metaphor Refantasio. This game is so long. No, not in a bad way. So obviously, I started playing this about a week or two before I went to Australia. I hammered it on the mainly. I played 90% of this game on my Steamdeck. And then when I got back from Australia, it was on my PC. I still had about another 20 hours to go when I got home. So yeah, I did hammer it this week. What a game. Absolutely fantastic. It took me about 86 hours to finish.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing experience. I will say, if you like the Persona games, you will like this, but it's different as well because it's set in a fantasy world. But it's really hard to say because I do not want to spoil this game for people. This one of the best JRPG stories I've played in a long time because there's a lot of twists and turns within the story, which obviously I'm not going to spoil, that are just mind-blowing. You're like, what the fuck? I had no clue that would even be a thing. Just wow, absolutely shocking surprises. About with different characters in the game, about your character as well, who you are. And it's just really interesting because I came away from this game and I'm trying to choose my words carefully. What I really like about it is it really pushes the narrative of people from all different cultures, religions, different colors and all, and all that working together in perfect harmony, but in a non-woke way. Because like I know people are going to roll their eyes, but like a lot of games are woke these days and they push the fucking diversity bollocks. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. This does that, but so good it's not woke at all. It's really bizarre. Like,
it's the traditional Japanese thing of they have a lot of interesting subjects in their games, which people would class as woke or whatever the hell, but they're not presented in a single-minded way.
Yes.
It's literally that they treat the player like an adult and go, these are the issues, these are the multiple problems. What do you think is the best solution, or what would you do in this situation? What's the lesser of two evils to choose here?
Yeah.
Whereas in the West, it's like, no, you should think like this, you should do it like this, you should be like this, and to choose anything else means you're an evil, horrible person.
Yeah. So it's done really, really well because your party, by the end of the game, everyone's like a different animal or different color or whatever, right? And it becomes to this part where, you all become really good friends and you all work so good together, but all of your differences are really good traits that really make your group come together really, really well. And the whole story kind of has that emphasis of people around the world just all coming together against for a single goal, if that makes sense. But the whole theme of the game throughout is very heavy on politics, very heavy on different types of, well, it's not people because they're kind of animals, but people being persecuted for who they are, very high racial undertones with that, etc., etc. And it's kind of the story of the world, like coming through that, and everyone, you know, it's done in a really good way. And then when when the game was over, I just made me feel good about the world, if that makes sense. It was just done in such a really cool way, that it was very mature and just very well done. Yeah, I will say, you know, the game's set on this huge world, and the way you travel is so cool. So you got this machine, and it's done like you choose to go to a different city, or you go to like a dungeon area or something like that. So you click to travel on your machine, but then it goes to the map page, and then it shows like the map, and it's like a cartoon map, and your contraption is it's a big walking machine, and it's walking towards the next objective. A bit like Indiana Jones, but without the music. It has like a narrator, and that narrator is telling you about your journey, telling you about the place you're going to and the history of the people. And it's just a really cool way of doing travel in a video game, I think, because it gives you that background. And then when you go to certain side missions or main missions, your group stops off along the way at like a real like beautiful place. Like you'll stop off at like a big snowy mountain, and then your group will chat, and then there'll be like a narration in the background as well about the history of that place, and it's just the music's playing and the sun's shining through, and you're like, wow, this is just amazing. You know what I mean? You actually feel like you're on this epic journey. You're not just fast traveling from place to place like in most modern games. It's actually, you do feel like you're traveling. And with the day system like Persona as well, so the way that works is there's certain goals you need to achieve by certain days. So in that time frame, you're kind of open to spend time with your party members. They've got their own side missions. There's actual proper side missions to help the peoples of certain towns and cities. So there's all these different choices of things to do. So you fill your time by doing those things. And with that time system, is actually, I quite like it because, again, it feels like you're working towards a goal in that time. So, as an example, some side missions will take 2 in-game days to travel there. So you'll be traveling there, and in that time you fill in your time while you're on the machine, like talking to someone or doing something else. And then in the evening, there's like a little campfire, and then you can talk to someone else, or go to bed, or meditate, or do something, right? So it feels like time is passing, things are happening, and it's just really, really cool. I think that it's done that way. I didn't feel pressured in any way, though, which was really cool. You get enough time to level up in dungeons or out in the field, which is really cool. I will say, though, that towards the end of the game, I was leveling quite heavily, and so I pretty much did every side quest I could come along. But it got to a point where the dungeons just felt very similar. I know in the Persona games it is all the same thing, all the same dungeon, but in this are all different areas and stuff. But it got to a point where it was like, oh, this again and stuff like that. So I did get a bit bored of that. But the overall story of the game was amazing. The travel system was really, really cool. I love the battle system. Your personas are like, there's so fucking many to level up, and they all give you a different weapon, different magic. And also the battle system I mentioned before is different. So when the weaker enemies, you can just hack and slash as you're running around the dungeon. And then when you get to a tougher enemy, you press the Y button, and it takes you into the traditional turn-based battle system. So it has like both in there, which is really, really, really cool. So once you're a higher level, you can just mash all the weak enemies and run through the areas a lot quicker. But yeah, it's definitely, as I say, one of the best RPGs I've played for a while in regards to story, because it feels very fantastical because it's set in a proper magical world. The last game I got that kind of feeling with, I would say, would be Ni no Kuni, with that magical kind of atmosphere, and the characters and stuff. So highly recommend it. I know it was a lot of outlets' game of the year for 2024 and a deserved winner, in my opinion, by those outlets. Definitely up there for me this year. Not going to say if it's my game of the year or not, but definitely top 5 material. Absolutely fantastic experience. Well worth it. If you're into your JRPGs, this is definitely worth checking out, because this was a bit of a surprise for me, because when it was first announced, I thought, oh, it's a Persona clone, it's going to be shit. And then I saw the reviews, I was like, I've got to check it out and buy it. And it's, a pleasant surprise for me, because it wasn't really on my radar. So,
I bet the developers are happy as well, because they're like, yeah, we finally got something that's done really well that's not Persona.
Well, yeah, because it's got that kind of the similarities of Persona with your Personas and the day system, but everything else is completely different. I really like that they've tried something different, and I do feel like they're going to do a sequel to this as well, which would be really cool to see. Yeah, so that's all I can say on it, really. It's a fantastic experience, a great JRPG, and thumbs up from Webby. Next, let's go back to Graham.
Nice. Okay, so over Christmas, I was house sitting for a friend. Well, actually, I was cat sitting.
Oh, lovely.
Technically, yeah. So I packed the PS5 and I packed my VR and I kind of put it in the boot of the car, and I just sort of really only took about 3 or 4 game discs with me as such. So I thought I'd have a little troll around and see what's on my hard drive and see what I haven't played. So I thought I would play, being bang up to date with the world of games, I played Spider-Man's Miles Morales.
That's a good game, man.
And do you know what? I actually prefer this to Spider-Man 2. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I ran the end credits and I was, 10 hours or 12 hours or something total playtime. It felt like there wasn't a lot of fluff. There wasn't a lot of filler. It did what it needed to do. I mean, I would have much rather Spider-Man 2 would have been as compact as this, although I'm sure there would have been somebody probably would have complained about it. I mean, it's just the game is fantastic. The loading speeds are great. I mean, this was kind of cross-gen, wasn't it? Did it come out like 2020 or something?
It came out around the time of the launch, yeah.
Yeah, so it was PS4 and PS5 when it came out, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah,
but no, this game is.
Oh, I don't know. Was it? I think it might have been a PS5 only title. Actually.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah.
Okay, I might be wrong then, but no. I mean, this game it looks fantastic. It hasn't got any of the crappy. I mean, the problem I had with some of the other Spider-Man games is it had silly
PS4.
puzzles.
Sorry, it wasn't PS4 as well. Just check the wiki.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other games had like stealth bits and or puzzle bits, which I just found ruined the flow of the gameplay for me. And as I said before, I found that the combat in Spider-Man 2 was just an absolute mess. They felt that they had to add stuff to it, and I just felt like they ruined it. For me personally, I mean, maybe there's somebody out there who really enjoys the way that combat system works, but they sort of added an extra layer, and I don't think it needed it, and I think it sort of was to the detriment of the playability of the game, honestly. But no, I mean, everything here is just good. It plays well. It looks good. There is obviously some side missions that you can do. There's the sort of usual collectathon type stuff. But I just kind of mainline the story, and I just thought it's a really good game. And if you've got the PS Plus I think it's the medium tier, the one in the middle. I think it's one of the included game catalogue games, so you can download it for free anyway. Well, I say free, but for the price of your subscription, you know.
Yeah, my PS Plus ran out early December and I've not renewed it. I don't know if I'm going to be honest. It's just because of time. Just don't have time to play
I know what you mean.
games on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
But I was in a similar boat with my Game Pass, to be honest, and I was having a lot of problems with Game Pass, so I let it lapse. I mean, I was finding, I don't know if I mentioned this before, I was remote streaming because my Xbox I have here is older.
Yeah,
it can't download all of the games.
Yeah,
So with some of the newer titles, it has to stream them.
Yeah,
and it was buffering on some games for nearly 15 minutes to get that session running.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to stop paying for this. Plus the fact I got the PS5, and I thought, well, I'm going to just get the PS5 subscription, concentrate on that, and then maybe in the new year I'll debate kind of getting that reinstated. But no, definitely worth a look. And I say, if you do pay for that subscription level, it's worth having a look around in there, because there are a lot of games that you might not realise are included with the subscription.
Yeah, I think.
But no, I think it's really.
Yeah, I think the PS Plus does have a good catalogue. I really do. But it's just the time. As I say, the time factor. The only reason I carry on with Game Pass is because I get the dual factor of my PC and my Xbox. That's literally it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So. Yeah,
it makes sense. But no, I think it's a really good game. I think if people out there haven't played it, it's worth having a look. And also, it's sort of slightly Christmas themed, so I thought, two birds with one stone. But no, it's decent. It's worth playing.
Nice. Cheers, man. What about you, Darren?
Right, there you go. Bang up to date.
2 seconds. Oh yeah, I forgot. I can pause this, can't I? That's another thing about Path of Exile. You can pause the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the other game, I suppose, one of the other main ones that I've been sort of like playing through the past week that just doesn't want to end. So you're definitely getting your money out of this is Alan Wake 2.
Oh, you picked. Oh, yeah, because it's come out in physical now, hasn't it?
Yeah, the physical came out, and they kind of did a new pro update.
Ooh.
Which so I'm playing it with as you'd say ray tracing at 40 FPS, and it runs really well actually. I'll say I haven't really had any like massive noticeable hiccups or anything like that, and it looks smoother than obviously what it did. Whether my TV's doing a little bit grunt work on top of that as well, I don't know. I just find it kind of funny that you need a 120 hertz TV to run stuff at 40 FPS.
It needs the VRR, no?
All right. So yes,
Maybe.
yeah, I'm guessing that's possibly what it is, but yeah. But yeah, this is it's a very, very good game. It's done in a pretty interesting way. There's a few bits in it that I was like, did that really need to be there? But hey, it doesn't like super detract or anything. And the format that the way the game is presented in, I find quite refreshing as well. So you basically, as you probably mentioned when you went through it, Webby, you play through the story as two protagonists.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you can switch between their stories pretty much whenever you want, as long as you're near a certain save area, which enables you to sort of traverse between the two worlds. One of them is basically in a fictitious version of, we'll say, like a random place, and the other one is in Bright Falls, which is obviously the location of the first game.
Yeah.
Visually, this game is pretty incredible.
It is.
I will say, for the actual, like, the look of the areas, especially like the wooded areas when you're going down, and as you're going down the sort of like it's in a cauldron, isn't it? They call it.
Yeah.
And the further down you go towards the sea level, the darker it gets, and the more moody and weird it gets as well. The typical cast of colourful and weird characters in the game as well. There's even a reference to your best mate Barry in one of the parts where I was just like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. And obviously, if you buy the physical copy or probably the version of it now that was like in the discount sales and stuff, you get all the DLCs with it.
Oh, that's cool.
And when you're playing through the game, in someone's storyline, you come across the TVs, and it's like, here's a new episode of Bright Falls, which is like the episodic sort of like the first DLC that they do.
Yeah.
And you can just interact with the TVs and play them as they come up, and then go through each of the ones. Each one of those separate little 3 DLCs for the Bright Falls focuses on a different character.
Yeah.
2 of which are characters from this game. One of which is a character from another one of their franchises, which is in the same universe. And also something at the end is mentioned there, but I won't say what it is because it might be tad spoilery. But I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting if that's true. But the one I thought was done better than that was the lake house.
Yeah.
Because obviously a certain incident happens at some point in the game, and you're talking to the lesbian officer or whatever it is, and she starts talking about the lake house.
Yeah.
And then I could just go straight into it. So as she's narrating what went on, I'm now playing it.
Yeah.
So I've finished all the DLCs, got all the bits from them.
So you finished the full game and the DLCs, have you?
No, I've still got parts of the game to go. I will say one character has just dealt with that thing at the police station, and the other character is now in a cinema.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm imagining I'm about 80% of the way through the game.
Yeah. Ish.
But it's one of them ones where it's like, God, this is still going. There's another chapter. There's
a long
more.
Game. Yeah, it is a long game. Yeah.
Like, I can see how they've got around it, because you do basically mainly just keep going back and forth in the kind of areas that each one is set in, but you're given a fair amount of parts that you can sort of traverse.
Yeah.
The atmosphere to the game is very creepy. Fuck that old lady. That's what I'm going to say with that one. Like, because the game does like throwing screaming weird things up on the screen at random moments when you're walking around. The music in the game is really good as well, for the really well sort done. Of like the musical interludes. The characters again are kind of interesting. One of the characters is more interesting to me than some of the others because he's in both realities.
Yeah.
And there's even little nods to him when you even go into one of the realities. I think it might be her reality. Where there's like a poster of them being part of a music group, but it's not obviously the Sons of Asgard. It's a different thing, and I'm like, there's that weird dude, because obviously there's people from all over the place in this game. I will say one of the things, most diverse backwater fucking like northern Canadian kind of place I've ever seen in my life, mate.
Yeah.
You can literally like every type of person you could imagine is all in this random place.
Got to tick those boxes, mate.
I mean, in some ways it suits the story, and if they're going a certain way with a certain character that disappeared, and it actually explains her story a bit more prolifically, that would be pretty cool as well. I don't know whether it actually will. But considering she's supposed to be from Norwegian heritage, that's kind of a bit weird.
Yeah.
I think they'd have got around it a bit better if her character wasn't particularly in a previous game. So we didn't know that they race swapped the character.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me in any sense, because I think she's a cool character anyway. She's not annoying. She's trying to get shit done, and it doesn't really distract. And like I say, if they're going down a certain way with that, it would make everything make sense, and it would be pretty cool if they do that.
Mm.
But I'm thoroughly enjoying the game. I look forward to finishing it though, because there's other games I want to play.
Well, you've got a huge back catalogue, mate.
Yeah, I've got Fantasian set here. I haven't started Black Myth Wukong yet.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to get through this. Because I know what it'd be like. It's the kind of game that once I put it down and go to something else,
you'll struggle.
I'd probably end up like forgetting to really go back to it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with it till it's done. I shall hopefully get it finished this week.
Nice.
I will say her combat sections are far more enjoyable than the other characters.
Yeah.
Far more enjoyable. Because at least when you're playing as her, you know who's an actual enemy.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're playing in someone else's realm, they're like, everyone looks the same until some of them decide to maybe have a go at you, maybe not.
Mm. Yeah. Not giving away spoilers, mate. I'm just going,
Yeah, I'm trying not to, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you're enjoying it, mate. That's good. I'm glad it finally come out on disc and you could finally play it.
I mean, I've recommended it to a friend of mine as well, who likes his games like that have that kind of interesting atmosphere. And I said, visually, aesthetically, and everything, you'll love it.
Yeah.
It's got the atmosphere and all of that, and it looks really good, like when you're going through all the different areas. And it is a game that I imagine is a good, what do you call it? I wouldn't say benchmark, but showcase for ray tracing, because they obviously utilise it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it is weird when you're walking past shop windows and you can see yourself reflected and everyone else in the street behind as well, and you can still see through and obviously see all the people inside that place as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you're in the other area and it's night time and you're going down the alleyways and you've got the neon signs reflecting off of the puddles in the alleys and stuff.
Beautiful.
Good fun. And I also like the way that you can kind of visit places in each character's mind.
Mm-hmm.
And like watch the weird TV adverts, commercials, PAs, listen to all the music. Because it's very much separated into like a TV show style episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And then each one is generally capped off with like a unique song or some musical number that plays out.
Yeah. What I find quite mad about it is it still hasn't made any money.
It must have cost a shitload to make.
Yeah, they're still at a loss.
Like, that's all I can think of. Yeah. It must have cost a hell of a lot to make. Because, like we said, it looks fantastic. Obviously, you've got well-known people in this.
Yeah.
Especially like one of the characters who does like hosts a TV show, we'll say.
Yes.
He's a very well-known actor, and like British actor, I believe, as well.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
But apparently they're still moving ahead with other stuff, so this doesn't actually set them back.
Yeah.
So they're still moving ahead with a Control 2, I think it is.
They must have some money off Microsoft or something to keep them going.
Possibly. And I think they've talked about a third Alan Wake as well.
Interesting.
Quite possibly.
Well, I know they're I know they're redoing the Max Payne games, aren't they?
Yes, yeah. I've heard they're remastering those, Max Payne 1 and 2. So that's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I loved 1 and 2. I didn't particularly like 3, even though it was the GTA group, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The GTA people that made Max Payne 3.
Yeah.
And it was still a good game. I just found it rock hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard compared to like some of the earlier Max Paynes I'd played. Because it like in the earlier Max Paynes, he was just like generally going along. Oh, he's a couple of like gangsters or street thugs. In Max Payne 3, it was like, right, here's a SWAT team coming in the building for you.
And not even your slow-mo mode's going to save you.
Yeah. It'll just mean you get shot up in slow-mo instead.
Cool, man.
But yeah,
I'm
playing. Definitely seal of approval on that one.
Awesome. Right, it's back to me again, isn't it? Right, I can't remember. I'm not going to talk about everything I've played because we'll be here all fucking day. Just highlight these ones. I've only got 3 games left, actually, I want to talk about. So a little game that I downloaded on PC to play on my Steamdeck. I don't actually think this is on anything else. Fuck's sake. I can't even... Anyway, it's called New Star GP. It's an F1 game, but it's done in old school graphics. So do you know, like the old
Monaco GP kind of style, or like Super Sprint kind of style?
So you know, like Dreamcast, I'd probably compare it to that kind of Dreamcast blocky type graphics.
Oh, you're on about like Sega Rally, sort of Sega Saturn, Sega Rally. Man. Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of things of a game that came out that used that sort of visual style to it.
It's really cool. So basically, I've been playing this 100% on my Steam Deck, which is why I picked up on Steam. I still need to see if it's out on anything else. It's on Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox. It's on everything. Okay, excellent. So basically, if you're playing the career mode, which I'm playing at the minute, you start off with the 1980s, and then you go all the way up to modern days. But so basically it's very arcadey, but don't let the arcade feel and the graphics sway you, because it's actually quite a bit deeper than what you think. So basically the races are around 4 to 6 laps each. They're all real world-ish names. Like they changed the name slightly. You know, like back in the day you had FIFA and Pro Evo, and Pro Evo would always change the name slightly of the players.
And Red, Blue.
So it does it like this. So you'll recognise names like Nigel Mansell's in it, but he's like called Nigel Mancello. You know, Ayrton Senna's in it, but he's called Eterno Senno and stuff like that. And basically, it does play very arcadey, but there is quite a lot to it in regards to you choose at the beginning of the race how many pit stops you want to do. It's usually either 1 or 2. So then it dictates if you're going to be on soft or hard tyres, and your fuel levels, because you refuel in this as well. And depending on how much fuel you've got and what type of tyres you've got, your handling does change. So basically, if you're on hard tyres and you've got lots of fuel, you'll need to brake earlier for the corners. In the car, it's weird, like you're playing on a controller, but it like just feels heavier going around the corners, so you need to be a bit more tentative. Whereas if you're on softs and you've got not much fuel, it's a lot easier to take those corners. But what's really cool about this as well is if you crash into people, they become your nemesis, and then they'll block harder and stuff like that. But also after the races, there's like a little media thing, and you get to choose your answers. And if you want to be cheeky against the other players, or the other character, you know, your competitors. So it just adds that fun to it. Also, you earn coins as you're playing the game, and that is basically use those to upgrade your car. So there's loads of different upgrades. There's different engine upgrades, there's brake upgrades, your fuel, your weight, aerodynamics. So as you're going through the career, you're upgrading your car, and it becomes quicker. So the races become easier. You need to do it because obviously the other teams in the game are also doing their upgrades as well. So it's not just a simple arcade game just going around the tracks. There is that kind of extra stuff to it. I've been having a lot of fun on this. I'm up to the 2000s now. So I've done the 1980s, I've done the 1990s, and I'm up to the 2000s. And each race weekend, there's different things. There's no qualifying. There's your main race. You can practice. I never bother. But then there is arcade races in there. So there's your checkpoint races that you can do. There's reverse tracks that you can do. And there's an elimination mode, which basically the last car gets eliminated until there's only one left. Recommend doing all of those without using your rewinds, because there is rewinds, but you get more coins if you don't use your rewinds, and you win in those things. And then obviously you use those to upgrade your cars. So worth doing, and it's a lot of fun, especially on a small screen on the Steamdeck. Just doing a race or two. It doesn't take long, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Just a lot of fun, but it's just, I like it because it kind of tricks you into thinking it's a simple arcade game when you just look at the graphics. But as I say, there's quite a lot of depth to it when I'm talking about the car handling, the pit stops, the upgrading your car. Oh, you can hire and fire members of your team. So you've got like your engineering team, you've got your publicist team and other people, and you can hire and fire different people, and they all have different perks and negatives as well. So there's quite a lot to it. And it's just, if you like F1 or racing, it's definitely worth just having a look at this. It's kind of a game I was just having a look at on Steam for a little while, just keeping an eye on it. And I watched a video review because it came up on sale. I was like, yeah, I'm buying this. And yeah, I've pumped about 15 hours into it while I was on holiday on the Steamdeck. So yeah, it's good. Really, really good. So yeah, New Star GP. And Strokey McGinger says he loved the Virtual Racer games back in the day. It looks very similar. It does look quite similar, yeah. I like it because it proves to me that not all games need to be 4K, 60 FPS, ultra realistic, you know.
Fun.
You just need a fun game, yeah. So
yeah,
it's another game that proves it to me.
That's why I laughed when obviously you had the Game of the Year thing. We'll probably touch on it a bit later on, but I did see a lot of people online just going, "Oh, Beltro,
Beltro, yeah,
all doing on there and that," and I'm like, look, just because something's not for you doesn't mean it's not fun and enjoyable for other people. Like, yeah, you can be like that, but. And I was slightly along the lines of like, oh no, leave those old games behind, you know what I mean, per se, like the look. And then obviously a year or two back, I played Vampire Survivors, and it's like superb.
Yeah, and that's it,
and
you know,
like a Super Nintendo game, basically.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and this is probably the most fun I've been having on a racing game for a while. And also, I did forget to mention, the video I'm watching just reminded me, your car can also get damaged in the races as well. Then you need to pit and repair, which is pretty cool as well. But yeah, it's very simple graphics, but I like it. It's stylized, and it's just a cool little game. So, yeah. Anyway, Graham,
very good.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so this is my last game. I haven't played a lot of games, but I happen to have, with my PS5, a disc that I installed back in the summer, and I never got back to because I was in the process of upgrading my internal hard drive, and I never got round to doing the reinstallation and completing and getting on with it. But I've started playing, because I picked up very, very cheaply over the summer, God of War Ragnarok.
Oh.
Now I'm only about 4 hours in, but I'm one of the people, I quite enjoyed the previous one. And I know that it's one of those games, it divides people. People either love it or they hate it. And I get it, because for about the first 3 hours of the first game, I didn't like it, but I managed to stick with it, and I think it sort of it came good, and it sort of it went back to its roots. So I've picked this one up. I think I picked it up for like 20 quid in game or something over the summer. Reinstalled it. I'm only about 4 or 5 hours in, but no, this game it's on PS5. It's gorgeous. It's a very good looking game. It sounds great. The dialogue is well acted. I mean, it's one of those games I dread to think how much it costs them to kind of produce and put this together. I mean, I don't know how many 1,000 million copies I don't know how many copies they're going to need to sell to break even on this. But no, it's interesting. I mean, my only real gripe with the first one is I think it had too many systems and too many currencies.
Right, okay.
Because you could, it sort of went very, very slightly, but not quite down the Destiny route. It gives you a gear score. Right. And you buy upgrades and you find things and you can make your axe stronger and you can make your armor stronger. I mean, I generally play these sorts of games on the easier skill levels anyway. Because I'm a bit of a nub, just get the storyline in there, you know. But no, I mean, this game is just it sort of it looks like an interactive movie. It's just, I mean, it's gorgeous. The animation of the faces is good. It's just it's a sort of real standout. But like I say, I understand that, you know, God of War's got a bit of a history. A lot of people have an idea about what they want from God of War, and I know that this is basically 100% not what the original games were in anyway. Yeah. It's just a complete overhaul, and I know that turns a lot of people off. But I quite enjoyed the first one, and I thought, do you know what? I've seen this one cheap. I'm going to just kind of blast through the story and see what I think. And so far, I'm quite impressed, to be honest. Nice. Yeah, but no, I mean, it's another.
See, so I picked this up fucking ages ago, and I only played about an hour and a half, and then I just kind of fell off it for some unknown reason. I don't know why. It just didn't seem to click. Perhaps I just didn't give it enough time. But graphically, it's stunning.
I think it's one of them games. It can take a while to kind of really wind up and get going. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's got a little bit of a sort of it's a little bit sort of slightly barrier to entry, but the story does take a while to really kind of pick up to a certain kind of pitch to get you to want to carry on playing it.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I found with the first one, honestly. But like I say, I'm only about 4 or 5 hours in, but I am going to I want to get through it. I want to finish it. I want to see the end. I quite like the characters in it. I like Atreus. He's a bit older in this one, obviously. And yeah, I just want to sort of find out where the story goes, really. But no, it's a hell of a good-looking game.
Nice.
And that's really my last. That's my last game, really, on my list. So
awesome. What about you, Darren?
Just a couple of sort of games that sort of got updates. So I'll briefly mention Space Marine 2. I think that had the last new operations map added to that.
Okay.
Within the last month of obviously us not recording. That was a chaos-themed one. Still play that every now and again with friends. There's an event in it at the moment, I think, for you get a chainsword skin for completing 10 operations between like the end of December and the 20th of January, I think it is.
Nice.
And the other sort of one of the other games that got a sort of reasonable sized update, which I think was like early December, like something like the 6th or 7th, was the First Descendant.
Oh, okay.
Had season 2 added.
Nice. I've not played that in ages.
One of the things I actually quite like is when they actually add content, they don't get rid of it.
Nice.
So the things I hated in the last one, the invasion stuff, and got kind of pissed off because by the time they'd actually made it so you could play it with other people, it didn't look like you could finish a couple of the in-game sort of achievement things for them because it didn't like have the things on those maps to clear before the new season started. And I was like, well, they're going to be gone, but they're actually not. They're still there, so you can still do them. So the thing they added mainly in this one, which was their new thing, is called Void Vessel.
Okay.
Where it's basically like a floating ship in space that's made up of various sections that can change about each time you do it. So there's like different routes it can take, leading you down certain sort of paths or areas and stuff. There's a couple of the rooms that will always be the same, including the boss at the end. That will always be the same as well. You now can unlock a dog companion that you can level up, and he will run around picking up items for you, so you no longer have to run around the battlefield picking up all the drops. It will just run along and grab them for you, which is pretty cool. So it's a nice times stealer thing. Keelan, I think, is the name of the guy that they've added for the first part of this season, and they're adding another female character very shortly. I think it might be this week or next week. I believe in the second half. Also added Ultimate Sharon and her storyline as well to the game, because I think they're going to be doing that each time. I've got all the characters. I've got the dog. Haven't leveled the dog all the way up yet because I kind of want the better drops that are from the Void Vessel. And also now you can increase your, reactors to a higher power level than they could go before. So that's what your sort of skill power and that all comes off of. And they've removed the requirements on obviously the legendary reactors. Where you pick up the yellow ones, and it would basically be like you need to use Greg's reversed fate on this character to get the bonus thing for it. Now, instead of it being Greg's reversed fate, it would just say tactical rifle. So that can mean you can use any tactical rifle, and then you can get other reactors from even ones for other classes, and basically put 2 more things on that reactor. So rather than it just being tied to one weapon, you can have it tied to like 3 different types of weapon if you want, if you have 3 types of weapon equipped. Because obviously when you switch your weapons during fights, if you're using your abilities without having the main one equipped that it used to be, you drop skill power. Right. Whereas now you don't, depending on how you've re-rolled it.
Have you still got a group of people you're playing this with, or are you just on your own?
I haven't really seen many people playing it per se, like that I played it with before. The main one was like yourself and Pudster.
Yeah, Pudster was living on it for a while, yeah.
I haven't actually seen Pudster on it. I think he's gone back to Warframe because they added that new update to Warframe, didn't they? Warframe 1999 or something.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So yeah, he's probably gone back to that. I will say one of the guns they actually added to the battle pass for this is bloody-tastic. It's like a laser gun. It's a beam rifle, which I hate. I haven't liked any beam rifles. But this one is electric, and it chains between enemies.
Nice.
So when you've got like a big group of enemies, you can just like leather the shit out of them, like with just one beam straight into one that bounces off into others and just like constantly electrocutes them. Excellent. Stuff, which is nice. Pretty cool. So yeah, I'm still enjoying the game. Added obviously a few more cosmetics and other things to the game as well.
Cool, man.
So yeah, there was that. Oh, and also I'll briefly mention I did boot up Stellar Blade to find out I could actually leave the shite dungeon thing that I was in, and then went back to the city to grab the Christmas event items.
Good times.
Because there was like a Santa outfit and earrings and other bits and bobs that you can unlock.
Nice.
That was nice to know that I was no longer just stuck in there and couldn't leave. Thing. But yeah, I will eventually go back to that at some point. I just kind of want to get other stuff out of the way first.
Fair enough. Fair enough, mate. All good.
But yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome. All right. I'm gonna wrap up my games played then. So hang on, where was I? So yes. Delta Force on PC is finally out. And I played a tiny bit this week, not loads, maybe a couple of hours. Loving it. So basically, the one mode that I have been playing is basically just Battlefield. The Battlefield mode. I've not really played the Tarkov type mode at all. I've not actually played it at all in the full game. I did in the beta. I know Dougster is well into Delta Force. He's listening now, and he loves the. I think he loves the Tarkov type mode. Well, we need to go on together, Dougster. We need to sort that out. The reason I've been playing the Battlefield type mode is because I love Battlefield, and this is Battlefield. That just runs well and is massively populated. It's free to play. I still haven't seen where they are really going to make money out of this, because obviously there is like some operator skins you could buy and stuff, but I'm not interested in that shit. I don't know how much that's going to sell. I don't know, but the game is very smooth. Loads of weapons, big open areas. You know, it has the Battlefield type modes like Conquest and stuff like that. Just been really enjoying that. So I just played that for a couple of hours this week. I will check out the Tarkov type mode again, but I just kind of like the chaos of these open world, just Battlefield type mode. So yeah, just been enjoying that. So I just wanted to give that a quick mention. And then yesterday I downloaded World War Z on my Xbox to play with. Who was I fucking playing with yesterday? My mind's gone.
HMV.
HMF.
HMF1.
Yeah. And I thought I'd played this before, but I had 0 achievements on it, so I downloaded it.
I think you had, but they did, because obviously this is World War Z Aftermath, isn't it? It's not World War Z.
So is it a sequel,
so it's like an upgrade, yeah. They did like a sequel stroke upgrade, because they did World War Z, and then they added a DLC, which was like a French campaign.
Right.
Because what I liked about World War Z is each level is set in a different part of the world where you play as different survivors.
Yes. So I only did the first 2 missions, because then I came off to do other things. But it's a lot of fun, actually. You can choose to play it third or first person. It is just total chaos. There's so many zombies. It's unbelievable. And the levels are really long as well. I think they're about at least... the second one was at least an hour. The first one was probably 45 minutes. Just going through the mission, destroying hundreds and hundreds of zombies. Just like kind of old school, kind of co-op fun gameplay, kind of Left 4 Dead style, kind of, if that makes sense. So it would be nice to get more than just two of us on. So I did.
I haven't played World War Z since the Series X. I think that's what I played it on.
Wow. On the One X, you mean?
The One X, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I say it's on Game Pass anyway, with all the DLC and all that gubbins, so that's why I downloaded it. It wasn't a very big download either, but yeah, just wanted to give it a quick shout out because obviously I played that with HMF. Good little co-op game. Don't really have to think too much. Blasting zombies, picking up upgrades, running around. The graphics are nice. Yeah, an enjoyable experience.
Super interactive, isn't it?
Yeah, so... Yeah,
the same team behind that did Warhammer.
There we go. So yeah, it's a fun little game. So I just wanted to give it a quick shout out. That's all I've played. That is all I've played. So, did you want to talk about the Game Awards a little bit, or you're not that fussed?
Oh, you can do, yeah.
I was quite shocked to see that Astrobot won the Game of the Year at the show. Don't know about you guys. I mean, I love Astrobot. I've rinsed it with my boy. It's been completed at least 3 times on my PlayStation. But Game of the Year, wow, that was a shocker to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would have liked to have seen it go to something like Balatro, honestly.
I mean, I like Balatro. It's a great game, but Game of the Year? Nah.
Well, it's out on mobile. It's in loads of places.
Yeah.
Well, one thing is, out of that category, what else was there that was better?
I mean, I don't want to be giving spoilers on my Games of the Year, but there's quite a lot. There was a lot of good RPGs this year, or the last year. And...
Oh, yeah, but were they nominated?
Yeah. Metaphor was nominated. Final Fantasy was nominated.
Oh, there you go.
So, but no, I mean, I'm glad it won in a way because it's something different and it's just fun and it's for all the family. It's a great game, but I was still a little bit shocked. Yeah. I can't.
I'm just looking here. You can actually buy an upgrade from World War Z to Aftermath.
Well, there you go then.
So I might do that. There seems to be quite a lot of content for it now, to be honest.
Nice.
A few extra campaign things. Something called Sin City Apocalypse, unless that's a separate game itself.
Ooh.
No, it's a new story episode. Whether that's for the original game or the other
Guys,
one.
I'm just going to run downstairs and fill up my drink of water because I've run out and my mouth is very parched. So I'll be back in a moment.
No worries. Have to remember to pause it at that point. It's only like 16 quid.
I think Wukong's just got a pro patch, hasn't it, this week?
Yes, there was one that came out a couple of weeks back that basically added like a 40 FPS mode and stuff to it.
So I think by the time you get to it, I think you'll be you should have a lot better performance. Yeah, I mean they're saying that even the base performance isn't great, and I think they're saying also the Xbox version still is in limbo, isn't it? As far as we're aware.
What's that, Black Myth?
We'll talk about this in a minute, or do you want to cut in now? Because the developer actually said they can't get it running on the fucking Series S, can they?
No, that's it.
That console was such a fuck up on Microsoft's end. I think why you'd release a underpowered system. Fair enough, it's still decent and it's good enough to run certain things, and some stuff does run pretty well on the S. But when you've got a thing, like a rule that it has to run across all systems the same, basically, you're setting yourself up for a bit of a...
Now, what I find quite interesting about this bit of news, Darren, is I saw something about this today because I was moaning about the 10 gig of shared memory. So someone built a PC with less than 10 gig of shared memory and the game runs effectively proving that they're talking a load of shit and they're just not working on not optimizing it properly. So,
well, they're basically taking PC code and running on something else. They're not doing it. It's different.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it still coming out or not? I can't.
It's on indefinite hold, as far as I'm aware now, because they're not allowed to bring it out until it's running on the Series S. Whereas if I was one of the people that didn't have a PlayStation and obviously just had an Xbox Series X, I'd be like, fucking yeah, thanks for that, Microsoft. Like,
yeah, that's shit, man. Yeah, I've just had a quick look as well.
There's a load of people were thinking like, oh, the reason it's not on the Xbox is because Microsoft or Sony have paid for like exclusivity thing with it and stuff, and it's like, no, that's not the case. But apparently I have heard that when they were doing the PlayStation version, they actually had Sony people go there to show them what to do or how to do certain things to get it to obviously on their system.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame. I mean,
built from the ground up as a PC game and then ported, whereas a lot of other games now are more often than not built from the ground up for consoles and then ported to PC.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a great game, man. I've not finished it still because it's rock hard, but it's fucking awesome. So I mean, I'm only upset because I just wish more people could experience it, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't really think there's much on that Game Awards I wanted to really talk about, guys, because I ran over it in my podcast I did with Marcus on my ramble.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I just wanted to. I just put on my notes just to see if there's anything that you guys wanted to mention on it. I mean, I'm not that. Yeah, I've talked about it all already.
Yeah, there wasn't like a ton of trailers or anything. I mean, the trailer, the only trailer there that I thought was like really awesome and got me quite excited and stuff was the Onimusha announcement.
Yeah,
that they're actually working on a new Onimusha.
Yeah.
Although I do find that quite bizarre, considering like whenever Capcom have generally said, one of our franchises do you want us to see come back, and more often than not, and every time they tease stuff, it's like, oh, Dino Crisis would be nice. Yeah, you could do a new Dino Crisis. And they're like, oh, sorry, Onimusha? Did you mean Onimusha? Here's a new Onimusha. You're like, all right. But I liked the Onimusha series. They were pretty good. Yeah, anyway, so that should be interesting.
I did get quite excited for the Witcher 4 trailer. I know it got a little bit of backlash online because you're playing as Ciri now, but I thought graphically, I mean, I know it's not in game or anything, but I thought it looked.
It's just their typical sort of type of trailer. I mean, the only thing that puts me in a worry is this isn't the same CD Projekt Red that made The Witcher 3.
No,
I think most of these people have gone.
Yeah, well, they've made their own studio, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah, that company is basically up to their neck in like all these fucking stupid policies and tick boxing shite. We know about Ciri and which way she leans, and this is like modern gaming. Like, I don't have any faith.
Well, I mean,
that is a one game I need to see so much more of before I even think about it, because I'm just kind of like, right, you're bending the law of the original stories for this to happen anyway, and you're kind of moving away from the character that's made you popular. Yes, it will sell well. Will it sell as well as The Witcher 3? I don't think it will.
Well, it's just been interesting to see how it is. I mean, I have all those concerns as well, Darren, to be completely honest with you. But I still think, as a trailer, without just taking on its own merit, I thought it was really cool. But yes, I have read that a lot of the studio have left and they've made another studio. I can't remember the name of it now. New studio was Rebel Wolves. That's it. Rebel Wolves, a new studio largely made up of former CD Projekt Red developers, have revealed a new game called Dawnwalker.
I mean, it's the same with like, as much as I love Cyberpunk, I am not excited for Cyberpunk 2.
No, well, it might be worth keeping an eye on this other studio, this Rebel Wolves one now, if that's where they've all.
Because again, it's like, right, I get it, but you've got all these weird policies in place, and you're kind of going down this modern kind of fictitious audience kind of route, and yeah, I don't fucking trust you as far as I can throw you.
It's a shame.
It's almost similar to when I was watching the trailer for the Naughty Dog game.
Oh my god!
I was kind of watching it, and I was like, right, this character's a smug, annoying bitch already.
Yeah, what was that
I don't
called?
get why you have to have these characters or these type of characters in games. You can have strong, tough characters in things without making them smug and annoying.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it come up at the end that it was the Naughty Dog game, I was just like, oh my god, just have it. I don't care. Like Naughty Dog to me is probably one of the biggest falls from grace from a developer. Like, they used to be like my number one developer.
Yeah.
And now I don't trust them with shit.
What was it called, that game?
Intergalactic? Yeah, that's it, something like that. I mean, it might be a good game. Again, it's one where I'm kind of like, you'd need to show me a hell of a lot more to get me anywhere near interested in that. But just seeing that it's Naughty Dog made me roll my eyes straight away, because it's like, out of any developer that I don't trust with anything, it's them.
Yeah, I just thought, I watched the trailer and I was like, space lesbian with a shaved head. Oh dear.
We don't know that, but it's Naughty Dog, so the chances of that happening are pretty fucking high.
Yeah. Shame, really. Yeah, it looks gash.
I mean, we haven't really seen what the game looks like. I liked the aesthetic of like the sort of like the fact that at least she uses physical media still. So at least she knows like the quality and having some physical CDs and stuff like that.
Well, if she's not a lesbian, mate, it could be your new girlfriend.
Oh, what, some smarmy bint out in space?
Well, she uses physical media, mate, you know.
I'll be a pile of ash at that point, whichever year that's set in.
Trailer was pretty good, but I think everything else was just a bit, just kind of washed over me, you know. But yeah, so I just wanted to be.
It takes longer now, doesn't it, to obviously sort of announce and bring stuff out. I mean, this could be a big problem that I could possibly see going forward. Because as far as I know, with that, the reception to that Naughty Dog game hasn't been great, has it?
No,
I think everyone kind of just rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
And that game has been in development for quite a while, and it's probably still got a little bit more to go on it. But because of this thing of them now, like, not wanting to show stuff too early and have people wait 4 or 5 years for a game to come out, you end up with something like Concord or Suicide Squad, where they're like, here's the game, and everyone's like, that looks fucking awful. And it doesn't give the developers any time to course correct.
Yeah.
So then they end up literally firing a turd out the gate.
Yeah.
And there was nothing they could do about it, because no one was able to give any kind of criticism or idea of what the game's like before it sort of came out. Yeah. And it was just kind of like that first impression of like, oh, no. And they can't just put it back and like fix it, maybe change stuff.
Yeah.
But then companies don't necessarily want to do that, because, you're letting the bad people win. Like, they moan and you changed it.
Well, what do you? I mean,
kind of thing. But then it's like, look at Sonic, the Sonic film. Like, that came out with like a character design that was despised by almost everyone.
They changed it.
Then they quickly went and changed it, and now it's on its third film, which is probably going to be its most successful film.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to have another one. And like, if they'd have stuck with the original design, it could have just come out as a floater that wobbled off down the down the river and got pecked at by fucking birds and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
So that I think that could be an issue going forward, because games take so long to like kind of come out, and you think the wind is blowing in a certain direction, or you've got your head so far up your arse, you think your fucking rule is the one and only. By the time you actually show everyone what you're creating, everyone might have either moved on or is no longer interested, and like you say, you can't course correct or change it.
Well, that's why I really like these smaller indie games at the minute, because they're simple graphics, great gameplay, and, you know, just as games used to be. I mean, I still love the odd big banging blockbuster AAA game, but they're so few and far between that are really good now. Just, you know.
I mean, I was actually having this conversation with my mate, because he's like basically gone out of gaming. He used to be like a massive gamer. Used to buy import consoles, import games, all that sort of stuff, and he's not interested in a lot of the modern stuff. He says it's all kind of samey, etc., etc. Like, if you think I'm a downer about certain stuff, some of the people I know are far worse. I'm actually quite optimistic in comparison. But I did say to him the other day, like, don't take it too bad that you only get like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 big sort of like studio games out every year, compared to obviously how it used to be, because sometimes that's a bonus, because you've barely enough time to play stuff as it is.
Yeah.
So it's nice to only have a few games to be maybe interested in, rather than having shitloads of them all sitting there that don't really get touched.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of them have come out and decided to be like some sort of always online pseudo MMO kind of thing that wants you logged in every day for your dailies and your bonuses.
Yeah.
Takes your time away from playing stuff you might actually enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get into a bit of news now, because I notice the time is ticking on. PC gaming has always been expensive. There's no hiding from that. But I think it's getting really silly now. I think I was in the last kind of realm of reasonable prices, where I paid £650 for my RTX 3080. The 4080 came out a couple of years ago, £1,200. A lot of money just for one component for your PC.
And do many games really take full advantage of that, or can you basically run it with your 3080 still?
I mean, I game at 1440p, so everything runs well for me, but I think it would struggle at 4K 60 now in a lot of games.
Well, you don't really need it, because one of the things that's actually kind of interesting is I was pretty sure that when I was playing Alan Wake, I did watch, obviously, that game looks crisp and clear and lovely. It looks 4K, but it's not actually native 4K. It's like a 900p upscale or something weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they can do that, that's where the tech's going to go in the future, because it will keep the costs down, because then these developers can just make a 900 or 720p, 1080p game at a decent frame rate, and then use technology to upscale it to a higher resolution.
Yeah. Well, that's all that the NVIDIA DLSS is anyway. But anyway, what was getting to with the news is the 50 series cards are coming out this year, and it's been leaked that the 5080 is going to be a minimum of £1,500. Ouch. And that's not even the top of the top tier, because obviously the 90 series is
the 90s, yeah. Isn't the 90 just basically for like streamers and things like that?
I mean, you don't really, it's not really for gaming, really. If you do want a top end card for gaming, then yeah, but the 80 series have always been kind of the tier to go for games, to be honest, and 90s for like those super hardcore gamers and people that want to do other shit, like rendering and crap like that.
On the bonus side, at least when it comes out, the 4080 will drop in price.
Well, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just kind of happy with what I've got. I'm going to make it last as long as possible. But these prices are just ridiculous. You know, I mean, I'm just glad that we're not in the space where you need to upgrade like every two or 3 years like you used to. I mean, I upgraded my PC graphics card in 2020. It's, 2025 now. No, I feel no need to do it still. But yeah, that's a lot of money. Hell of a lot of money just for one component. So yeah, I'm not happy with that, to be honest, because the future is looking expensive for PC gamers. So yeah, there's that. And my last bit of news that I couldn't find anything else, is quite a happy one. Stardew Valley, great game, has sold over 7.9 million copies now.
You can pretty much get it on most things but a calculator, can't you? I think, Stardew Valley. Because it's not a taxing game, is it? It's kind of like a...
Yeah, it's on everything, yeah.
Super Nintendo sort of style-looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's even on mobile phone, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. That's all my news. There was some questions as well, actually, in the Discord.
I will say, have any of you lot watched Secret Level yet?
Oh, yes, I have been watching Secret Levels.
All I'm going to say is outside three of the episodes I've actually watched, outside of 3 episodes, I'll say, dog shit.
All right, so I've watched most of them. I think, how many episodes are there, like 13?
I think so. I think I've watched like 10 of them, and I hated all of them but 3 of them.
There's 15 of them. Oh, I've only watched.
What's it on, by the way?
It's on Prime.
Oh, it's okay. I've got Prime.
I've only watched. I've watched only like 8. Actually.
So yeah, the Armored Core one is fantastic.
Oh, that's the one with Keanu Reeves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Warhammer one is really good, and the Sifu one was pretty good. I hated every other one I watched.
Did you not like the Dungeons and Dragons one?
No, not really.
Like
it was a bit again, Critical Role.
Mm.
It was kind of like a bit Dragon Age the Veilguard-y. In a way.
Yeah. Sorry.
The Outer Worlds one was fucking horrible.
I've not watched that yet.
If you want to watch a bloke just be a dickhead and like just be like give himself over for like testing,
right?
Like and like basically lose all his body parts and become an idiot because he's in love with someone who doesn't want anything to do with him. And it didn't really scream anything about the Outer Worlds apart from, like, I don't know, some sort of weird thing about, look, capitalism. And it's just like, don't give a shit, mate. Like, this isn't funny. This is just disturbing and strange. I don't get it.
They're weird, aren't they? Because, like...
And everyone looks fucking ugly for some weird reason as well in that one. Everyone's got, like, a slightly oversized head and they look weird.
I'm going to go and watch it now.
See, I quite like... So... The positives are that they're all only about 15 minutes long.
Yeah, well, that was a downside when it came to some of them because I was like, here we go, like this should be good, and then you're like, this is only 10 minutes, or this is only 20. At least I think the Warhammer one was 15 minutes or something. The last one I watched was like an advert for PlayStation.
Did you watch the Concord one yet?
No, what would I?
Which one was your PlayStation advert one, Darren? Sorry.
I think it's like one of the last ones. I can't remember what it's actually called. It's like about a girl that's trying to deliver something.
Playtime fulfillment.
Yeah, that's the one. And then basically like the Helldivers people turn up and various other things from the IP, and it's kind of like a big PlayStation advert. And again, it's not particularly. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, what is this? Is this just like a giant advert? I don't kind of get it. I don't see what the purpose is of like basically someone going in the room and going, right, Bob, what we're going to do is we're going to do a story based on this game. We're going to virtually make most of it. Nothing really to do with the game, but we're going to set it in the universe. We've got the chimps in the kitchen with the typewriter. They're going to write the script. We're not going to question it. We're just going to put it out there. Even if it doesn't make sense, we'll just put it out. Oh, and it's going to be about 8 minutes long.
Yeah, they are weird. Like, the Pac-Man one for me was one of the weirdest.
It's like
what the fuck?
Yeah, like a devouring weird entity kind of
machine trying to escape the maze. It was fucking weird.
I mean, there's some really cool franchises that they could do stuff with.
Well, what's annoying is I was in Australia and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll watch Pac-Man. And I said to Marcus, let's watch Pac-Man together.
Oh, right.
Within a couple of minutes, I was like, no, you can't watch this, mate. Yeah, I didn't realise it'd be like that. Like, gory as fuck. Yeah. Oh, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. But no, as a whole, the series is fucking dumb as fuck.
Disappointing, I'd just say. It's just disappointing. I was expecting like quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Like I've seen game trailers with more interesting stories and stuff that get me more hyped up than like what some of those is. And it's apparently got greenlit for a season 2.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I can't wait to see what fucking franchises get drunk and fucking gang raped behind the dumpster for the next lot of stories that come out.
Jesus. Right, should we do some questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Clarky asks 2 questions. First of all, he asks, did anyone get some Lynx Africa for Christmas?
No.
No.
I'm not a teenager, so no. I did buy another teenager some, though.
You did?
Yeah. And he also asked, did you get any games for Christmas?
No.
Not bought for me, but I have a couple of games I treated to myself for Christmas.
So that's a no all round.
Lollipop Chainsaw Repop.
And awesome.
By X Anya Operation Memories. Both Japanese imports because they didn't bother releasing physical copies in the West.
Standard.
Unless it was on the Switch. I think Spy X Anya got a Switch release, but I was like, nah.
Fair dues, mate. Off to Pace asks, what's your favourite Astrobot level? Well, you guys haven't played it, have you?
No, I have.
Oh, what's your favourite level? Right. Have you got a favourite level?
I really enjoyed the boss fight against the octopus, actually.
Oh, fucking hell, that was hard. Hard work. Good fun, though.
Yeah, good game. Game of the year? Don't know.
I liked the last level where, I know this might be a bit of a spoiler, but it uses all the PlayStation consoles as spaceships. I fucking love that, man. That was so good. Spoilers.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really good. What's my tag asks, any New Year's gaming resolutions? I have one.
Not that I can think of. I need to finish some games that I've got, but apart from that...
Mine is to spend less money buying games.
You say that every year.
I know. Well, I'm going to do it this year.
We'll see. Switch 2 out this year, mate. So
not interested.
Love that.
Yeah. Mr. Jelly asks a good question. What was the best game you played last year that didn't come out last year?
Oh, no, that's a good question.
It is.
I'll be tempted to maybe say Alan Wake 2 in that regard, due to the fact that obviously I played it a year after it came out.
I'm trying to think.
But then you've also got
probably.
Yeah, sorry.
Cyberpunk, maybe? I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I have purchased that again, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, I had one of the places like where you get the rewards points. I had an email coming through saying, "Oh, your rewards points will run out in early January." So I was like, "Oh, I'll go on there and see what they got." And they obviously had Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition on there for PS5.
Nice.
And I used my reward points, and it cost me £10.90. And I was like, "Thank you."
Job done.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I'll probably say Cult of the Lamb.
Cool.
Because I really enjoyed that this year, last year. And starting Red Dead Redemption 2 again on the Steamdeck. I'll go for them too.
Nice.
Mr. Jelly also asks, is there any games that you're looking forward to coming this year? I don't even know what's coming out this year. What's coming out this year?
Obviously, Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm kind of more excited for that after playing the beta, even though it was pretty poorly optimized. But that's something they've been like drastically working on with their other things. You got Mark of the Wolves coming out. I wouldn't say as many games that I was hyped for as like last year, because most of the games I was actually hyped for this year or last year just gone, ended up disappointing me in some way or another. So,
I'd like to hope that Wreckfest 2 comes out this year, because I like the first one, and that's obviously quite a few years old now because it originally came out on PS4.
But don't forget, boys, GTA 6 is definitely coming out this year. They told us.
I literally saw something about an hour ago saying it's been delayed till next year. So,
is that an official release statement, or just
let me just
Bob
Google...
told me down the road and?
It's still okay.
Cost me, bro.
That one says 2025. I don't think it's going to come this year.
I think there's a lot of skepticism because they haven't really showed a lot, and we don't know how much that weird leak a while back sort of set things back.
Yeah.
Do you know that leak of like the pre production kind of footage, and people are like, these graphics don't look very good, and it's like, because they've got no textures on them, you tit. They're just basically almost the wire work.
Yeah. Have you seen that there's a Tales of Grace's F remaster coming out? In a couple of weeks. That's quite cool.
Hopefully they'll have the Japanese language in it, because they didn't on the PlayStation one that I picked up back in the day. So I think I played it for about half an hour and then was like, I can't do this.
There's Final Fantasy.
Because the Japanese version had one of my favourite voice actresses in it as well, and I was just like, all right, nice. So don't get that. I'll get this instead.
That was a PS3 game, I think. Originally.
Yeah, PS3.
A great game. I fucking loved it. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth's out on PC this month.
End of the month, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Shadows out next month. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Are you looking forward to the fall of Ubisoft?
It's they're going to go bankrupt this year. They are 100%.
If Shadows doesn't do very well at all, there's a lot of things that they could go into administration and just get bought out.
Well, I just don't understand. They've got all these franchises.
Trying to buy them, aren't
they? I think Tencent own like 49% of the shares already or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, they need to use it. Like, why isn't there not a new Splinter Cell? Why isn't there not a decent Ghost Recon? You know, all these things are just fucking.
Because people have got no idea what people actually want anymore, and it baffles me because they had the finger on the pulse years ago, decades ago. They knew, and all of a sudden, you've got all these new people that we could take this in a new direction, straight to the bin. And you're just like. How did you get in power? What are you doing? And this isn't just in the gaming industry. It's all over the world in like all facets of business and stuff. And you're just like, who the fuck are these people you're hiring? Hire me for your company. I'll drive us into the ground. Out of the black and into the red, boys. Both feet. Let's go.
Yeah. Also, February got Avowed, which I think is going to flop. And
it'll do reasonably well, maybe. I don't know. Like, I was kind of looking forward to that game until that stupid old bloke like opened his gob and shit. Like, someone actually brought it up that they should either like remove social media from certain developers or basically have a policy of like shut the fuck up. Like, even if you disagree with things that are being said.
Yeah.
Don't turn around and snap back and do this and that and the rest, because it's going to just draw more attention.
Yeah.
And then it also reflects badly on everyone else in your company that's been putting their heart and soul into making this game.
Yeah.
And you've literally just driven a load of customers away by being a dickhead.
Yeah. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii?
That's soonish, isn't it? The first couple of months
21st of Feb. Yeah, something to look forward to. 2 Point Museum in March, Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that.
Monster Hunter is Capcom's biggie, isn't it, I suppose?
Xenoblade Chronicles X remaster is coming to the Switch. That's quite cool.
Yeah, yes and no. It's still gonna be the Switch censored version,
right?
Or the version on the Wii that was censored for the West.
I don't see anything else on this list at all, so I think 2025 might be a little bit of a dry year, to be honest.
You say that there's loads of stuff I'm missing. I'm sure there's some pretty. Dynasty Warriors is out early in January. But the main thing that's kind of pissed me off about that is it did actually come out that there's something like 7 to 9 playable characters in that game, and that is it.
Oh, right.
In a franchise that has like 40 or 50 usually. So they've like major league culled the playable characters. And to be honest, one of the main things that draws me to those franchises is being able to play as those officers and kick ass.
Yeah.
With them, because you're like, well, they're one of my favourite characters. I want to play as them. I don't want them to just be a background character while I play like Spazzy McSpoggin, like fucking hacking off through the fucking minions or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that the game will probably do reasonably well as a soft reboot, which is what it's kind of intended. But I think amongst the hardcore, they're going to probably enjoy it for a while, and then they're going to lament the loss of their favourite characters. Yeah. And I don't see why that's the case, considering their character models are already in the game. So, like, that's obviously what a lot of us thought when they first showed off the trailers. You're like, well, there's so-and-so, there's such and such. They're in the game, that's cool. We must be able to play as them, yeah? And the devs are like, maybe. So I think you only get to play as your main character and whoever joins you as your, like, number 2 on battles, and it's literally only a selection of a handful of people that you can actually do that with.
Right.
So even when they were showcasing the game, it was like, this is so-and-so's design, and this is this character's new design, this is that character's new design. They didn't have, like, you'll never be able to play as this person, by the way. This is just what they look like. Enjoy the view, but you won't be able to play as them.
Mm-hmm.
Strange.
Yeah.
That's like announcing a load of fighters for a fighting game. Like, oh, do you like playing Ken? This is what Ken looks like in Street Fighter 7. But he's a character in a stage background now.
Oh, there's a new Virtual Fighter coming, isn't there, as well? Just one about for fighting games.
Is that the one by the Yakuza developers?
Yeah.
Or is that the kind of... Because they did a rejig of the last Virtual Fighter, didn't they?
It's called the new Virtual Fighter Project. Yeah, I was showing
have you seen their other game?
What's that?
I'm sure it's from the Yakuza developers. The trailer was really weird. It was kind of set in like
it was in a Japanese
the start
city,
of,
old school, wasn't it? Yeah.
sort of, yeah, but it's like set around the time of like the Western kind of influence starting to come in, like early 19th century kind of stuff, or late 18th. Like the steam and locomotives and stuff, and he's drunk in a bar and stuff, and he staggers out and gets in like a street brawl. That looked interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Isn't it just called something Project? Isn't it one of those games that doesn't actually have a name yet?
Project Century, I think. Let me just see.
That's the one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You've got, I think, Showa, an American Story. I think that comes out in 2025, or at least I hope it does. A game made by the Chinese about the Japanese occupation of America.
Oh, right.
Or the American occupation of Japan. It's one of those ways round, but it's just looks completely off the wall.
Nice. That's all the questions anyway, guys. Anything else you wanted to say? Talk about?
Not to say yet.
So.
Oh, Fortnite seems to have fixed the issue they were having after the last update on that, where everyone I knew that was playing on the Series X had constant crashes to the dashboard in the middle of games, which was fantastic. And then you'd have to wait about a minute to 2 minutes before you could actually try and rejoin the game that you got booted out of.
Oh, that's just hard. You've just reminded me.
Or of something else that was being a twat on the old.
No, because Fortnite's added Squid Game stuff.
All right.
But it just made me think. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty this week, and I forgot to mention it. They've added Squid Game modes into it. Red light, green light. I mean,
what actually happened to COD?
Mate, it is fucking hilarious, this game mode.
It's gone from being like a pretty hardcore military game to just being like, oh, have you known they've stuck the Teletubbies in Call of Duty? And it's probably.
Basically just Fortnite.
Kind of like a Fortnite. Yeah, they've turned it into kind of Fortnite and weird.
Yeah, they have. But the Squid Game 2 game modes are pretty cool. So you've got in the normal multiplayer this red light, green light, which is basically just from the show. You're all on the football pitch, and you go when it's green, and if you move when it's red, you get shot and die.
That's kind of cool.
And then they've added this Squid Game mode in normal multiplayer where it switches up the game modes throughout the game. It's fucking awesome. It's really, really fun. And then they've added a Warzone mode as well, which me and Colin and Peebs were playing today, where you get different objectives to do while you're playing Warzone, and red light, green light just appears as you're playing, and basically you get shot and die if you move when it's red. And then you get weird objectives like the teams to shoot the most bullets, open the most caches, do the most damage and stuff like that, as well as playing the normal Warzone as well. So it just adds up a little bit of variety, and it's actually really fun just to have that change up. The only thing I find a little bit naughty is obviously Call of Duty has its own season pass, but this Squid Game mode has its own Squid Game season pass as well, which is 1,200 COD points, which I think is about 14 quid. With its own unlocks and shit, yeah. Its own skins, Squid Game skins and shit like that. So, yeah, another season pass to buy.
Oh, good old season passes.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm loving COD at the minute. I'm loving the Warzone, I'm loving the Squid Game modes, but I'm also just enjoying the normal multi. They've added some new maps and just switch your brain off, chat to some people on the party chat, and shoot bitches. So yeah.
Have either of you played the that Marvel Rivals or whatever it's called?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I'll check that out on the Steamdeck. I've not actually downloaded it on my PC. It's all right. It's just Overwatch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Third person Overwatch.
Just a third person just a third person Overwatch.
With Marvel characters.
With Marvel characters. I mean, it plays well, but it's just not my kind of game. I can see why people would get into it, but yeah, it's not my thing. That's why I didn't really mention it earlier. But yeah, I know it's getting a lot of love online at the minute. But as I say, unless you're in a group of people you know and you can coordinate, I don't know, it's not really my thing. Where were you thinking of downloading it? Were you, Darren?
No, I was just wondering if you'd actually sort of played it. It's not my kind of game.
No, it's not my kind of game, but yeah, it's all right.
It might be something I would have checked out if it wasn't like a live service kind of thing, because we all know those games like eventually just disappear.
Yeah.
Because they released like a new Wuthering Waves, I think it is, like 2.0 or something, is out on PlayStation, came out the other day.
All right.
And I sort of looked at that and I was like, isn't this just another one of those like gacha games? It's like, yeah, same.
Oh, is it? I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, I think it's like another sort of like Genshin Impact clone.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm just looking at.
But they're all the fucking all the rage now, aren't they? And it annoys me because I will always say like the Genshins and all that lot. I think visually and everything like that they look great.
Yeah.
I just think it's a shame that those games will cease to be completely at some point because they're always online.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be kept going where you've got companies like Square Enix and that are kind of pretty stubborn and they've done a pretty damn good job. Like Final Fantasy 11 is still playable, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want to, rather than it's sort of like just disappearing, so you kind of have a bit more faith with certain companies. But when you've got games that are kind of just mainly made to make cash, you know they're just going to drop them like a bad habit as soon as like the.
Well, the thing is, you can tell, like, since Genshin Impact, there's been a lot of these other type of games out, but you can tell they're all just running on the same engine because they just look exactly the same. You know what I mean? I mean, they look good, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Because I've tried one. I tried one. Was it Tower of Fantasy or something?
Yeah.
And I generally I liked the gameplay, but I hated the story and the weird elements and the gacha shite.
Yeah.
Like I know everyone raves about like Nikkei, the Goddess of Victory on the mobile, which is another gacha game.
Right.
And I tried that, and I think within the first event or something, it's like, oh, sorry, you didn't get this character. They're gone now forever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this is why I don't play these games, and that's why this is getting deleted. Fuck off.
Well, they're all on your phone as well.
Spat in my face early on.
They're all on your phone.
That's another bad thing. Yeah, I don't want games that are good enough to run on my phone. I want games that aren't good enough to run on my phone. That's why you play them on more powerful systems.
Because you got that Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero, which are pretty much exactly the same, and they're all on your phone as well as PC and PlayStation.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 is now on mobile as well.
Oh, is it on there now, is it?
Well, a version of it. It's obviously like a separate kind of thing, isn't it?
Right. I didn't even know.
From it.
Didn't even know. I'll have a look.
I think it went into like beta testing or something, but I was just kind of like, yeah. It's a mobile game where you rub your fingers all over the screen.
Final Fantasy 14 Crystal World. What was it called? Well, yeah, it looks weird. No?
I mean, to be honest, if it's an early skeleton for a way for them to basically make it so that when 14 eventually goes offline, it shifts to that version of the game, which is playable offline.
Yeah.
But then that would be reasonably hard to do, especially because you'd need to basically placate your fan base by allowing them to transfer everything you have from the main game to the offline version. And that would obviously mean the offline version would have to include all the contents, all the assets, everything. But we shall see.
Yeah.
I know this might sound cruel, but I kind of wish mobile gaming just kind of died off after whatchamacallit.
Yeah, but it won't. No,
Like
it makes so much money.
Well, that's the thing. It's the Chinese market that basically like corners all of the mobile game stuff, and you just end up with that looks really cool. What is? Oh, it's a fucking phone game. Which for every game that is literally a phone game, it means it is a timed game that will die. Like there's no other way around it. It will die. So there's basically no point in you really playing it.
Right, and on that happy note then, if there's nothing else, I think we're going to end it here, guys.
Cool.
It's been great to be back. Don't forget, next week is the Game of the Year episode. So make sure you've got your top 5s. I've got a top 10 because I play too many games. For those of you listening, for those of you listening, don't forget on the Discord there is a Game of the Year section in the forum. Please fill out your top 5 in there to be read out on next week's show, and we are collating them to get the community's top 5 games of the year. Even better, if you could record a voice audio clip and send it to me with your top 5, that would be amazing. And send that to 360gamercast@gmail.com. That's the email address. If you could do that, that would be super cool. But if not, don't worry about it, but I would like to hear some of your voices if possible. That's it. So from all of us here, it's been really, really cool to be back. Happy to be gaming again, and we will be back next week for the Game of the Year show. So from all of us here, it's been awesome. We will see you next week. Goodbye.